when you know what you don't want, and therefore you send off a rocket of desire about what you do want, that larger part of you, your inner being, receives with clarity your asking and stands in full awareness of that asking and becomes a full vibrational harmonic component to that asking. When you ask, it is given, and that's how you ask, and the inner being part of you embraces it and becomes it, and then offers a vibration to you about it, which you must receive. That's the reason that we're here talking with you today, is because you've got to get into that receiving mode. You have to get into that receiving mode so that once you've launched the rocket, you can become a vibrational match to its current state of being. And many of you want to say, well, its current state of being is not that satisfying, because its current state of being is still in the state of becoming. And we say, well, really, it's you that's in the state of becoming. It's you getting ready for it. It's ready. Once you launched it, it joined with other things that you want, and it became a broadcasting beam that you could translate into reality right now if you were ready. And we don't want you to feel uncomfortable about not being ready. How are you doing with this conversation? The reason we ask is because you like manifestations. And we're not talking about those full-blown manifestations. We're talking about awarenesses and hunches and instincts and impulses. We're talking about ideas. We're talking about you enjoying your evolution of perspective. Did you think this world is this tangible, real, knock on wood, see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it world? But it only is that because of your ability to perceive it. And if we can get you to just start enjoying your earlier perceptions so that you don't need the full manifestation to be satisfied, well then you're off and running. Then more things are going to be manifesting in your experience all the time, and the people who know you will be quite amazed at how they just barely heard you begin speaking about something, and now there it is in your experience being enjoyed by you. But they will also notice how much less edgy you are, and how much more happy you are, and how much more alert you are, and refreshed you are, and vital you are, and receptive you are, and how much better your timing is, and how in the right place at the right time you are, and how your coordinating with other people is so improved, and how in love with life you are. In other words, when you begin to activate all of those receptors so that you're on the same wavelength as your inner being, then life gets really good for you, because your inner being, that's us, your inner being knows where you stand in terms of your physical allowance of the manifestation, knows where you stand in your physical body, in your physical human personality that you know as you. Your inner being knows where you stand in relationship to everything you've been asking for. Your inner being knows how ready you are, which another way of saying that is your inner being knows how much resistance you've got on that point and that point and that point and that point and that point. Some subjects you have little or no resistance, so you just move joyfully along and good things keep happening on that subject. Some things you have a lot of resistance, so you just trip over them and trip over them and trip over them till you don't even like them. Simple things like, so Esther gave a piece of her luggage away to a friend, and then she ordered a new piece like it for herself, but the new piece like it had been discontinued. If I'd known that, hello friend, can you give that back to me? So Esther ordered a new piece of luggage. Well, she's decided with some experience that it might not have been a real new piece of Tumi luggage, because the wheel came off right away. Now that doesn't happen with Tumi. And then the zipper broke. Just weird things began happening. So repair. So yesterday morning, she's getting ready to zip up her bag. Everything's in it, carefully packed. And she went to zip her bag, and the zipper came right off in her hand. Now there was a zipper that would come around the other way, but she thought, that may not be trustworthy. And when the airline gets my bag and they paw through it as they like to do, can you feel Esther's resistance in the words that we are repeating of hers? when the delightful airline people paw through my bag, they might not get it zipped back up, and I may end up with my panties on the conveyor belt. So Esther thought wisely, I must do something about this. I must do something about this because my ride leaves in 5 minutes. So she opened her big bag and she plopped up on the table next to it a smaller bag, a much smaller bag. And now she's saying, don't need that, need that, don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. It was amazing how much was in her bag that she'd been dragging around for years that she really doesn't need. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that, need that, don't need that, don't need that. And in 5 minutes, she had prepared her new bag, zipped it up. Oh, so light. Not 49.9 pounds like the usual bag I drag around. So she went to the airport, checked her bag, and got on the airplane. And when she got to the baggage claim here, when her bag came around and she went to pick it up, the handle came right off in her hand. Now this is a new bag, and it had been bolted on both sides of this handle where her tag was, and the screws were just stripped. It had gotten caught in some mechanism somewhere. And Esther thought, I may need a new vibrational plan. Because when things are manifesting, you know that they are, well, you know if you know about law of attraction, because you get what you think about. Now, it was easy for Esther to know what she'd been thinking about. She'd been thinking about bags falling apart, feeling not satisfied about bags falling apart. Now, you want to ask, but Abraham, how could someone do other than notice what's going on? We know that's how you get yourself into these jams, and that's how you justify staying in them, because you observe what is, and you talk about what is, and you feel about what is, and you often do not do anything about diluting the experience of what is with more of what you want. Now, on most other subjects, Esther is diluting constantly with what she wants. In other words, she's flooding more pure positive energy in on top of everything. But she's got this thing with Delta. She got on the plane in Asheville 2 hours late and missed her connection in Atlanta last weekend, and then hung around for 4 hours in the Atlanta airport. This is not perfect creation. This is responding to Delta. Happened last year too, year before. One time, a bunch of them went to get on the Delta airplane. They wouldn't let any of them on because they were that much beyond the time frame to check their luggage, and so they rented a van and drove to Atlanta together. There's history. There's vibrational history that's fact-based. It's fact-based, and it's real, and it's justified, and it keeps on giving. You get what you think about. And sometimes you don't even know you're thinking about it. You don't even know you've been thinking about it, but you know your thought is where you last left it. And so when you have an opportunity to realize where your thought is, then you have an opportunity to do something about it. You're sort of getting the sense of what we're talking about. You do create your own reality, but most think that you create it by sitting down and writing out your goal list, or by sitting down and making your statements of intent. And that's a nice thing to do. It's really a step one thing to do. I want this. My life has shown me through experience that I prefer this to this. But that's just the beginning, because once you have identified something that you prefer, you must become a vibrational match to what you prefer. A vibrational match to what you prefer. So how can I be a vibrational match to what I prefer when I'm living what I don't prefer? We know it's a little tricky. It takes a lot of focus. It takes caring about the way you feel, and it takes an awareness of what's going on within you vibrationally, so that you can sort of work the vibrational bugs out of it and be in a more receptive mode. And so as you're moving through your day-to-day experiences, you are getting lots of post-manifestational experiences that show you what you've been doing vibrationally. But so often you just take the experience and you chalk it off to something else. That airline is harder on luggage than other airlines, you say. Well, if that's your conclusion, then that airline will continue to be the path of least resistance through which you create that reality that you do not want. But it does not have to be that way. That's the thing that we want you to hear. You do create your own reality, and you create your own reality through the thoughts that you think, but you got to be aware of the thoughts that you're thinking. And sometimes the thoughts that you're thinking are pretty subtle until they gain some momentum. And once they gain some momentum, then they become more manifesting in your experience. And so most humans are doing what Esther was doing, wanting to give the credit to the airline instead of to her vibration. And that's easy to do because the airline was a willing, compliant partner in giving her what she expects. There are so many willing, compliant partners all around you, giving you what you expect. And when they give you something that you want, that you've been expecting, you say, oh, blessed, compliant, co-creative partners of the universe. But when you get something that you don't want, you say, damn you. And what we want you to understand is it's all in your hands. It's all in your vibration. It's all in your perception. So you want to ask, well, if something is happening, isn't it right that I perceive it? And we say, yes, that's step one. Perceive what's happening. Notice what's happening. Have the experience of what's happening. Let life hit you right between the eyes. Take what's happening and take your normal response. You know why we say that? Because you have no choice. You have no choice than to live it as your current vibration allows it. So if something causes a complaint in you, it also causes a new asking with great clarity, which you are unlikely to align with if you're still facing the reality. So once the new desire has been launched, then you got to find a way to not let the other one be active. Now, this is something that we really want you to hear. If you could just launch your new rockets and never think about the thoughts or the experiences that caused you to launch those new rockets, you'd just be moving through life, launching new rockets. Things would just be getting better and better and better and better for you. But you have this humanness about you, which is a really good thing because it's what helps you to be able to explore the contrast. Exploring the contrast matters so much because your exploration of contrast is what causes you to continue to launch the new desires, and it's what keeps all things moving forward, because without new asking there could not be new experience. But what trips you up is your proclivity, your habit, your usualness of giving more attention to what is and less attention to how you feel. More attention to what is and not enough attention to what's in the state of becoming. So it could have been helpful to Esther to, at the sign of a first wheel getting broken off of something, she dragged a bag through the airport in some faraway country with only one wheel. It was like a sled. It was pretty far, made her pretty mad, hurt her elbow. She conjured up a lot of thought about it. For days and days and days her elbow hurt, and every time her elbow hurt she thought about it again. She got quite a bit of momentum going toward it because it just seemed like the natural knee-jerk thing to do. This is what happened, and it happened to me. And she told the story to a lot of people. Everybody she knows about that. It was entertaining. My suitcase was a sled, a 49.9 pound sled. It was a mile through the airport. So somewhere along the line, you have to decide that the satisfaction factor matters more to you than the reality factor. You have to find a way of reaching for the best feeling thought that you can find, or stopping the thought altogether, which isn't easy because every week she takes another suitcase somewhere, and those suitcases just remind her of each other, and they're falling apart at about the same speed. Every suitcase, no matter how much she pays for it, and no matter how guaranteed to stay together it is, she can defy the logic of all of that with her powerful mind. And so can you. Your reality morphs and becomes just as you expect it to be. Your expectation is everything, because your expectation is a long thought. A belief is a thought that you continue to think, and the reason that you continue to think the thought is because law of attraction has it going. Law of attraction is making the thought have momentum. So you have to find a way, Esther has to find a way to think different thoughts about some things. And when you find a way to think some different thoughts about some things, then they improve.